Hi, everybody. My name is Rosa Manson. I am from Canada, but at the moment currently residing in Pueblo, Colorado. Touching Inishla, but Anhi Bashashin, Glizatlana e Dashiche do Toahana e Dashanella. I am a fourth year in the Bachelor's of Art in Psychology program at Dinek College. A good place for us to start today is our purpose for this ethnographic study. Our purpose was to understand how this pandemic came to be, how it changed our lives here on the Navajo Reservation and across the globe. One thing that was inevitable was how stressful this was for everybody. Fear and anxiety about a new disease and what could happen can be very overwhelming and cause strong emotions in everybody, in adults and children. We had to adjust to a new normal, basically. And in any pandemic type situation, public health guidelines and actions were implemented, such as social distancing. And that can make people feel, isolated and lonely. And sometimes it increases the stress and anxiety in people. However, we know how important these actions and guidelines are necessary to reduce the spread of COVID-19. Coping with stress, though, in a healthy way will make you and the people you care about and your community stronger. I focused on my research on the effectiveness of cultural resilience in Navajo society, a study on resiliency in the face of loss during COVID-19. My story actually began sitting in a restaurant in Las Vegas. This was in March in spring break, which is very, a highly unlikely place to reflect on the importance of COVID-19 and how important cultural resilience plays an essential part in our lives. We sat across from a TV, and that's when CNN declared that COVID-19 was a global pandemic. It pushed and pulled my mind in so many directions. I was uncertain. I was scared. I looked at my friend and I just wanted to leave because I was unsure of what is really going on. So I called my mom. I told her that we were coming home and that I didn't feel comfortable in my surroundings and my environment in Las Vegas. And we had left, and she just kind of replied to me saying, she had to just drive safe. I'll pray for you guys for a safe return, and call me as often as you can when you get back home. And that is when I knew and I realized, everything was going to be different. My research question basically was about losing a loved one during COVID-19. The coronavirus pandemic had created a whole new context for Navajo people to comprehend, death and grief. Grieving the loss of a loved one while coping with the fear and anxiety can really become overwhelming for people, for everybody. And individuals who have experienced this loss and hopes, they can relate to the resiliency and to understand how important cultural resiliency is, especially, through our Navajo culture, that it helped people deal with this loss. Through the completion of, giving out the survey and conducting the interview with my participant, I was lucky enough to have him speak about this. He experienced this unforeseen turn of events in his life, and reluctantly he turned to his Navajo culture and traditions and the cultural resiliency to help him cope and adapt, to to adapt to the change and the face of stress and adversity that he was going through in his life. His adaptation, his essence, and the excess, the success that he experienced because of cultural resilience really channeled and impacted his life through, Navajo belief and how he feels today. Um, we all experience anxiety. We all had felt uncertainty, and that's what had happened. It had taken place during my interview. From my observation, that's what I interpreted through his emotions while I was talking to him. But as me being the observer and the interviewer, I had to be very calm and cool and collected in order to make him feel comfortable and open with me about the questions that I was about to ask him. And we both did. We both experienced an array of different emotions because I knew how difficult the topic would be. And just by looking at him, he was trying to do the same thing for me, I believe. He was trying to be calm, and I knew he was anxious about the questions because some of the questions that I had to ask were difficult. Um, in our Navajo culture, talking about death and grieving is something not a lot of us talk about. And I was lucky enough to have someone who was willing to share his experience and what he had gone through because of COVID-19 and how his cultural resiliency helped him. There's only so much you can tell and see from conducting an interview through a Zoom meeting. But just by listening to him, listening to his voice, his words, and his emotions, you could tell there was a lot of faithfulness and anxiety. He had so many things. I couldn't tell you exactly how he was feeling, but I knew that he was going through so much. But I was happy, and I thank him so much for helping me with my research. One of my key findings in my research that had been revealed to me is the importance of family. Our Navajo culture, we are extremely close to our families. We have very strong ties, and even through we form these bonds. We form these relationships through friends, through community, and sometimes you might not even know the person, and you have a strong connection to them, and they helped you in some sort of way. And I feel that that was the main contributing factor to understanding cultural resilience, especially being Native American and Navajo. The second contributing factor I came across was our cultural blessings. He did not follow or understand any part of our Navajo culture or traditions. But after he lost his dad, he had a very different mindset. He went through so many things that when he first realized that he needed to change his life and change something in his life in order to feel happy again, he noticed that, doing some kind of cultural blessings, such as cedar or burning sage or smoking tobacco and even praying in the morning, it helped him overcome these obstacles in his life, especially losing his dad, because he did not know how to overcome those thoughts in his mind. And that leads to our third contributing factor, which is feelings. In Navajo culture, we do not share our feelings. In a sense, we do not share a lot of what we go through and how we're feeling. And I was happy that he was able to share his thoughts and his ideas and his feelings and everything that he was going through because he lost his dad. And I think that was a big contributing factor to how cultural resiliency can help you. If we talk about our feelings and what we're going through, I truly feel that it helps you. It helps you overcome those adversities in your life. You find a sense of connectedness to somebody when you understand that. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing once you understand and you let yourself go. You let yourself into somebody's life and they let you in their life and you get an understanding and that connection is there. And I feel that cultural resiliency can do that because it helps you adapt to change and you overcome these big obstacles in your life and you come out the other end better, stronger, smarter, healthier. And it it's very beautiful to understand that. And our last question, I don't think I would change anything, to be honest. I've learned so much from him and I've learned so much about myself throughout this entire process. It's definitely life-changing because we all don't know what the future holds for us. And we all have never been through something like this before. I I know that this is new to all of us and I just hope that we could take these teachings, the resiliency, and carry them on and hopefully pass them on to the next generation so they can do better with it. And they can understand that we went through something just as hard as what they're going through, and hopefully they can begin to understand and learn the same things that we did, and maybe even better. So thank you for tuning in and listening to my research about the effectiveness of cultural resilience in Navajo society, a resiliency and loss of a loved one due to COVID-19. Just remember, be safe, try to be happy, wash your hands, social distance, and just remember that family is very important to your overall well-being. They do a lot for you and you do a lot for them. So thank you guys. Bye.